Hello, and welcome to Talk Back Wednesdays. I'm your host, Derek Wyatt, and today's topic focuses on the three phases of video production. Today, we have four speakers that each have an array of expertise and skill sets that make up the phases of video production. So let's get right into it. Our first guest is a freelance art writer who has been published in Washington City Paper, Art Papers, Arts ATL, Burnaway, Number Incorporated, Afropunk, Black Art in America, and Arts Black. It's a lot. She wholly self-produced a documentary, Untangled, Getting to the Roots of Hair Movement, that screened at Athens Institute for Contemporary Art, Spelman College Museum of Fine Art, Georgia State University, Georgia Tech, Northern Virginia Community College, Woodbridge, and Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts. She was a 2020 fellow with Docs in Progress and has recently joined the team here at Montgomery Community Media. Let's check out some of her work.
I wouldn't call myself a natural hair photographer, only because to define myself as that means that is all I do or the best that I do. I do shoot natural hair. Connection to natural hair is maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was invited to a business to actually do a campaign for their store. And the store was Urban Villa, and they wanted to put images of their customers up on their walls, and literally that was my introduction. They serviced natural hair clientele through products. At that time, there really wasn't any place where you could actually get products and things of that nature in a store like Walmart or CVS and places like that. So it was like the go-to place for natural hair products.
All right, please welcome Shantae Robinson. Shantay, thank you for joining us today. All right, our next speaker is a community outreach technician here at Montgomery Community Media. His main responsibility is to shoot and edit video and graphics for MCM's web team. Other responsibilities include equipment specialist, trainer for new and existing production technicians, as well as a production coordinator, producer, director, writer, cinematographer, editor, set designer, and last but not least, the audio guy for MCM's production and/or client projects. He has been the winner of several Telly Awards and is currently an Emmy winner and a nominee in this Saturday's Capitol Emmys presentation, which I highly suggest you go out and watch. Let's go and check out a piece of his work.
I was raised doing art or woodwork. My father was always the weekend warrior with the projects around the house and understanding, and he was always a stickler for craftsmanship. It's got to be right, it's got to be durable, it's got to be planned out. I always say that's my first and best teacher was my father. He was just an amazing craftsman himself. Most of my work centers around commission work, which is making panels for people's homes or businesses, churches. Most common for me is stained glass, where we take the sheets of hard glass and we cut them up and we kind of make puzzle pieces out of them and join them together with lead cane to create an image to frame and then set into a window. I'm more the craftsman, and there's a number of artists I know that are much better artists than I am. And when you get into a church that wants Christ or somebody standing up there with a portrait of a face, I can go to them and say, this is the idea and this is what we want to do, and they'll do the drawing or what they call the cartoon, and I'll take that cartoon back here and be able to fabricate and trace basically what they've drawn. Fused glass.
Really excellent piece of work. I'm really interested to see the rest of that. Let's welcome Nic Rhule to the show, and I want to say congratulations and good luck in advance, Nic, for all your great achievements this weekend. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm good.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right. He is one of the production coordinators for Montgomery Community Media, assisting and overseeing the day-to-day operations in the production department. In addition, he is an editor and graphic artist. This past year, he spearheaded the transition of live in-person studio productions to a virtual format. Being involved in various types of live production, both theater, music, and television, since the age of 14, he has worked at some of the top venues and stations in the Washington, Maryland, Virginia area, as well as the Texas Shakespeare Festival and Walt Disney World. He is a graduate of the University of Delaware with a degree in music composition. I'm excited to check out this piece of work that you're about to see.
To Montgomery Community Media's Small Business Network at Home edition. I'm your host, Kelly Leonard. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Joining me online to discuss how to make the most of every online meeting is Kim Foley, president of Kim Foley LLC, where she helps individuals and teams maximize their credibility in virtual offices, virtual meetings, and video presentations. Welcome, Kim.
So great to be with you, Kelly.
I am so excited to have you here. And I know initially when we connected this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Whenever I'm with Kim Foley, I'm like paranoid. Am I center? Am I this? Am I that? And so I am so excited because, as you know, so many of us in this remote environment amid COVID, we are constantly online. And so you've been really mastering and showing folks how to, like I said, make the most of these spaces. And so how did you get started training people to create virtual or better virtual meetings?
Oh, Kelly, you're not going to believe it. A year ago, I actually did not know how to do a virtual meeting. I'd never been on one, and I didn't know anything about the platforms. But what I quickly learned was that it's the exact same thing as video. And after spending so many years in video production, media training, television styling, I knew that if I could bring all those skill sets to this medium, I could really make a difference in individuals and companies' teams in terms of building their credibility. I mean, it came back to, just regrouping and realizing that virtual meetings are the exact same thing as video. There's no difference. So most people, of course, wouldn't know how to light.
All right, let's welcome Adam Wyatt to the stage. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing good, Derek. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, no, thank you. I know you all are really busy people. So this is great. This is great. Okay. And last, certainly not least, she is 14 years old. I would preference Adam started when he was 14 years old, right? We'll talk about that a little later. She's 14 years old, entering her freshman year of high school. She loves to be creative and to produce works of art, whether it is visual art, music, or short videos. Her most recent work includes the production of Arts in Power episodes for the 2021 spring MCM Youth Media Academy. Arts in Power is a web series centered around influential artists and performers in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. As a producer, she organized each episode, created the guest introductions, and contributed artwork to select episodes. In the end, she enjoyed her time with MCM and has learned a lot from the classes and about leadership skills. She plans to use this new information in her future endeavors through her high school drama club, art productions, and other projects. Let's take a look at an Arts in Power clip.
We have an amazing show planned out for you today, and I really hope you enjoy it. Today's guest is Substantial. Substantial is a hip-hop artist, MC, producer, and educator who has performed in nearly 20 countries, and his music has been featured in games, films, and television shows. He currently teaches music business classes at the Omega Studios School of Applied Recording Arts and Sciences in Rockville, Maryland. Substantial's mission is to inspire those who question their worth and abilities while arming the next generation of artists and musicians with the knowledge to create change in their lives and in their communities, all while supporting themselves doing what they love most, creating.
Hi, welcome to Arts in Power. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me.
Our first question is, let's start at the beginning. How did you get started in music?
Sure. Let's see. I'm just like most people. I just started out as someone who loved music, and I attended.
All right, let's welcome Mareya Benson. How are you doing, Mareya? Thank you so much for taking the time. It was last minute for you to come on, so I'm glad you had the time to be able to join us today. Okay, and I'd like to welcome all of our speakers for taking the time to join us. Let's get right into our question and answer session. This is the brunt of actually why we're here. And I just want to caveat to our participants again, what you have here is an array of individuals that cover all the skill sets that you are that you may be interested in within the video production world. You know, we talked about the pre-production, the production phase, and the post-production phase, and all those elements in between of being a producer, being a writer, being an editor, right? Doing the voiceovers, being a host, you know, doing graphic artistry. So these individuals from array in all different ranges and ages and styles can provide a lot of insight and help you try to focus and see what you might be interested in. Okay, so I just want to caveat that because it's really important, as this is your time and the place to be able to ask questions for you to see where you're looking to go, possible directions. You know, sky's the limit. Okay, so let's start out. We're going to start it with Isaiah Cook. Isaiah, you can please unmute yourself and let us know what questions you have.
I wanted to know what was the experience like.
So when you say experience, like experiences as just their overall, each of their experiences in their specific field sets, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Shantay, let's start off with you. We'll go around the room and get everyone's overall experience.
Well, as a junior in high school, I went to Northwestern University's radio, TV, film summer program. And from there, I decided to go to Syracuse University for television, radio, film management. And so by the time I graduated from Syracuse, I knew I wanted to make documentaries. And after I got my master's of fine arts in writing from Savannah College of Art and Design, I decided to produce a documentary, and there was no one else who wanted to do what I wanted to do, so I did it myself. And so, and then last year I participated in Docs in Progress's fellowship program in order to produce another documentary, but COVID got in the way, and so I'm waiting to produce that. So yeah, I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, so I just did it.
So can you actually tell us a little bit about, just real briefly, what Docs in Progress is, so our participants kind of understand that?
Well, Docs in Progress is a nonprofit organization that's located around the corner from Montgomery Community Media in Silver Spring, and they hold classes on documentary filmmaking and workshops and things like that. And they also have residency programs and a fellowship. And the fellowship that I was in just prepares filmmakers to work on documentaries or to complete a documentary that they are working on. So it's like, for the fellowship, we had monthly meetings, and each meeting we met with a different filmmaker, much like what you're doing now. And they gave us guidance and answered our questions and just help us figure out what to do in order to complete our documentaries.
Okay, thanks so much. Adam, what can you tell us a little bit about your experiences and background?
Well, thank you, Derek. So my background is quite varied. As I said, I started when I was about 14. I started with music and theater stuff, but between my freshman and sophomore year, I had the opportunity to help revamp our high school's television studio from the ground up, and that's what kind of got me hooked on this type of work. But I've had various career paths throughout my professional career, as I heard in the bio, of just different places, but I've always come back to television production. I feel that the variety of experience I've had in front and behind the camera are both complementary. and I think that's something you should try and do, is that if you understand how things are made and then you're in front of the camera, you understand what people are doing around you. And conversely, if you've been in front of the camera and you can see and you're working behind, you get to see maybe if people are struggling or something like that, they can help. You can help them go through these things because you've been through it yourself. So with all that said, I mean, I think the best thing in this type of field is to get a wide variety of experiences, because you never know when you're gonna be able to pull on something like that. So that's
And
about it.
I really like how you made the connection, which we're going to talk about later within our course, is what it is to be in front of the camera versus behind the camera, and the relationships, like, of having each of those experiences to actually make overall a better video production, a content that you can complete. So that was really great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Mareya, how about you? Tell me your overall experiences, and you can even share some of your experiences you said in your bio of what your experiences for the spring Summer Youth Academy was like.
So for my overall experience, I've been making videos since I was young with my sister, like just for fun, and I never looked into it. But like starting the beginning of quarantine, I was like, I need something to fill my time. So I've started to look into like behind the scenes and film, because I've been behind the scenes on stage. So I wanted to try something new. So that's when I found out about MCM, and I did the application process and tried out. And once I got in, I had a lot of fun being the producer, where I would help organize the shows and then contact the guests when we figure out who we were going to interview. And I would say this was just a very learning experience, because I've learned lots of new things. I've learned how to edit on Power Director. Before I was using iMovie. So it was good to learn a new platform. And yeah.
Okay, excellent. I think that's a great background. Thanks so much. And our Emmy winner, nominee, Nic, which he's going to win. I know he's going to win on Saturday. Tell us about your experiences.
Hey guys, my experiences. I'm from Jamaica, so living in Jamaica, I never really thought about being a filmmaker. I never really thought about having this career. But after coming to America and having that option presented to me, I decided to pursue that in college. So I went the college route, did 4 years at the Art Institute of Washington. Then after that, I went freelancing, and I freelanced throughout DC, Maryland, and Virginia for a bunch of different companies, media companies, doing different things, from the audio guy, the guy who helped set up, the guy who just here to help transport equipment, to the camera guy, to the second camera guy, to the first camera guy. So I sort of moved my way up in the freelance world, and eventually I came here to MCM, and that was a long time ago, and have learned or have been made to learn all aspects of production from being at MCM. We have a very small shop, so it's kind of like we have to do it ourselves or help each other do it. So if we don't know something, we all gotta sit by the laptop and look it up on YouTube and figure it out. And or go to one of the older guys who've been there for 30 years, which we are surprised when they tell us that, oh my God, but you guys will learn soon that time flies fast. But some of these guys, they'll be able to put you onto some really good information that you'll be able to add on to. So it's really, production for me, has always been a everyday learning process. The equipment, as you will find out, will continue to change every day. The technology will continue to change, but even though you change things, some things that's old will never go away. Because I was at the station the other day and I found a piece of equipment that's 20 years old that would fit perfectly with our DSLRs, which is a brand new piece of equipment. So, it goes to show that, when you see a video guy storing a lot of equipment, don't judge him. He's just waiting for it to come back around.
If
But,
listen,
that's it.
So I also, to go with Nick brings up a good point on that, is that the older stuff is like when I first started doing production work, the camera was completely different from the DTR. So we had digital tape. So we had a camera and then basically a satchel that you carried around with a belt pack on that. But the fundamentals of having to shoot something have not changed, whether you're shooting on something like that on a DSLR or on your iPhone. It's the fundamentals are still the same. So,
and another awesome point these two have made. So this is why this week is the overarching basis of learning, right? The phases of video production, because no matter all the weeks following, everything that we're doing after this, though, this is the basis right here, right? So no matter what you're using, no matter if you're doing a mobile video production, podcasting, shooting with a $30,000 camera, the basics of production never changes. So I think thanks for both bringing those up. That's an excellent point. And I think that actually segues really nicely into Marita's question that I know she has. Now, Marita, go ahead and unmute first and you can ask your question.
I actually changed my question.
Oh, she changed it, but I thought that was a good question. Okay, go ahead. You can ask that question.
Okay, my question is, what kept you motivated throughout your projects?
Okay, well, all right, let's do a reverse order. Let's go ahead and start with Adam this time.
Okay. Keeps motivated projects. I mean, to be completely candid, sometimes it's just me sitting in my head going, I got to get this done. It's my job. I got to get this through. But other times, which is why I love this, is you hit on a story or you hit on a production and you really start to internalize it and you really get to understand what it is. And for me, that's something, if I'm covering something or I'm trying to work on something that I know nothing about, because then I research it, I go find out about it, I try to become an expert on it to understand it, and I love to learn. And that's what keeps me going on that. And a lot of those type of things sometimes will dictate how I cut a piece, how I design the graphics, what type of music I choose on that based on the subject. So that's kind of, it's a combination of being inspired and discipline. And if I had to put a thing on, if I had to make like a 49-51 split, put the 51 split on discipline. So.
Okay, that's good. Sounds good. Mareya, what about you?
So for what kept me motivated for making my videos was, I guess, the want to like be better and the want to make these videos. Because if I didn't want to do it, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't put myself through that to do it. So I would say this, wanting to get better and learn from my mistakes and continue, it's what kept me going.
I think we all can probably share in that answer. That's awesome. Nick.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize my mic was unmuted. I'm sorry.
No worries.
What motivates me really is how does it look to me? You know, it doesn't look good at the end of the day. A general motivation is, just having to get up and go to work is a motivation. Knowing that, yes, you have to go to work will motivate you to keep going to work and keep doing what you need to do. But for you to consistently do good work, it has to be your pride. You have to want it to look good. Because if you don't want it to look good, if someone can tell you your camera and say, go shoot a tree, and you can just go outside, you can just film the tree, or you can go outside, you can walk around the tree, and you can figure out what's the best angle to shoot this tree from. Should I do a low angle? Should I do a wide angle? Should I do a tracking shot? Should I do a zoom shot? What angle should I use? You get back to the station and they'll be like, Nick, we only asked you for one tree shot. Why do you have like 30 different angles? Of like, I wanted to give you options, because I saw this angle of the sun peeking through the leaves that I thought would be great, but in my mind, that's my name on that thing. So I want people to see that thing and be like, oh my God, great shot. Who did that? I did that, So pride motivates me. I like shooting good stuff. I like, shooting stuff with perfect audio. I like when, I'm shooting and somebody starts to cry and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta zoom in slowly. So I'm gonna get the creeper zoom going. And I love doing that because I love capturing those moments. And when someone goes, oh my God, I can't believe you zoomed just at the perfect moment, I'm like, thank you, thank you. I was listening and I was like, oh, yes, I'm gonna get those tears and I'm gonna zoom in. And a lot of it is very technical. A lot of it is like, you have to be editing sometimes as you're filming, because what we do, we shoot a lot of news and like things that are moving like this. You're talking to the governor and he's talking to 4 other reporters at the same time. And while I'm recording him, I have to think, how am I going to edit this? So I might need a wide shot of him talking to the reporters to help me with my edit. So while I'm recording, I have to be thinking, okay, how can I get out of this situation fast enough and reframe my shot so I can catch him leaving? So I gotta look where his bodyguards are. I gotta look where his truck's at. I gotta look what direction he's walking in. I gotta realize, is he getting ready to leave or is he gonna do a tour? Is he gonna hang out a bit? So even though I'm recording with the camera on my shoulder and the reporter's on my side and there's 4 other report camera guys bouncing me side by side, I have to maintain my frame. I have to maintain the focus while I'm thinking and looking around with one eye, trying to figure out what's my next move. And all that at the same time, wanting it to look good, worry about the cloud changing to give you a darker shadow. So keeping your eye on the iris. Because a lot of times our camera's on full auto, so we have to like constantly monitor it. So it's like a constant firing all the time. So work motivates you to keep doing good, to keep getting stuff done and getting, things done right. But for me, it's always been like, I want my stuff to look good. Above everything else, I don't care what you're doing, I don't care what you're doing. Especially if you're working with me, it's gonna look like I'm micromanaging. I'm not a micromanager. I just want to know that at the end of the day, it's gonna look good because production is a team effort and everybody gotta be on the same team. Everybody's cameras gotta look the same. The audio's gotta sound the same. It can't be like, oh, you're doing your thing, you're doing everything. It's gotta be on point. The teamwork, we gotta be like this. We gotta be like passing information along. We gotta be asking questions, and be in the moment, in the production, and be like constantly like, sometimes I'll go 8-hour shifts or 8-hour days, and I'll be like, oh my God, guys, are you hungry? I forgot to feed you guys because I totally forgot about lunch because I was just focused on making sure everything was perfect. But don't be like, feed your guys, make sure everybody takes a lunch break. And, but loving what you do is it, being prideful in it and wanting to do better every single time, like, oh my God, see, when everybody says, oh my God, that's great, you saw the flaw. You saw, oh my God, I should have cut the window out of that shot. I should have like lowered the audio a bit. The lower third, came in too soon. Small things. The lower third left too early or too late. So, but for me, it's always been like, wanting to smile when I see my work instead of doing one of these, like, oh yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't know who did that. I want to be like, yep, I did that. So that's what keeps me motivated.
Wow. And man, Nic, there are so many excellent points that you made in there. The one thing I do want to highlight that you talked about is taking pride in your work. And guys, as you go, you're going to increase your skill sets. And remember, once you put that you put that video out there, that piece of content out on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, it's out there, right? So and it's done. So you want to make sure that you put all of your work and pride, and you can walk away for yourself saying, hey, I like I like my content. I like this piece of work I did. There's always something you can do better. But as long as you are happy with that piece of work that you did, then, no one can say anything else. Right. So it's really important. Shantay, tell us what motivates you.
I have to agree with Adam that discipline is very key. You have to, be on time. You have to be diligent in your work and just continue despite circumstances. When I was doing my documentary, my car broke down, but I was like, you know what? I'm getting this done. I have a deadline to meet with Spelman. Another thing that I would have to add is love. If you don't love what you're doing, if it's challenging to be motivated to do what you want to do. You got to question whether or not this is actually something that you want to do. I was watching a television show the other day about retirement, and Susie Orman said, if you are ready to retire from your job at 50 something years old, then you don't love what you're doing and maybe you should do something else. So I think that loving what you do is very important.
Man, love what you do, and that goes right back to Adam and Nick. It's just all about having pride in your work and loving what you do, because it otherwise, what does it matter if you're not enjoying what you're doing, right? So you want to have a passion and love, because life's too short otherwise, right? So good stuff. Okay, let's go to our next question. I'm gonna go out to Fatim. Fatim, unmute. What's your question you have for our great speakers today?
My question is, how do you find what you want to write the film about? Like, what do you want the film to be about?
A little bit of a research question in there. Okay, does anyone want to take that first? That's an interesting question.
I'll go first because I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead. When you find that answer out, I would love to know, because I've had the worst writer's block ever. But I've been told by all the research I've been doing to try and overcome this writer's block. That's write about what I know. To just write about anything. If you have a story, just write it down. Eventually, maybe it will form into a whole another story. But just get writing, and the more you write, the more you'll be able to, come up with ideas and come up with stories that can intertwine with each other. You're able to go from there. But if you do have a better idea, let me know. I need it ASAP.
Gotcha. Okay, Shantay.
I think in general, being well-read is important, but when you're well-read and you read a variety of things or you watch a variety of things and you're just always informing yourself, you'll have a plethora of things to work on. You'll have a lot of things to, do. And then if you do find, if you're reading for general pleasure, you might, that kind of reading helps you find out things that you might not have thought before. So then you could actually start to research that thing. You might find, when I started my documentary on natural hair, it was in the news all the time, all on social media. It was all over the place. And I was just like, hey, somebody needs to do something about this. And you'll see, if you ever did research on natural hair and documentaries, there are several of them out there on the internet. But it just came from being aware of what was going on around me.
Okay. Sounds good. Mareya, what's your take on it?
For me, I think I just use what my interests or things I want to learn more about to help do project ideas. For example, I remember we had to find different segments to fill out the episodes for Arts and Power. And I would ask our group members what they were interested in and what they wanted to include. So for example, I knew that I was into art and painting. So I made the idea of doing artwork inspired by the guest to help fill out the time. So.
Sorry about it. Adam. What's your take?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's, in my opinion, has covered most of the major things, which is being well read, being aware of what's going on around you. Because sometimes it can be the simplest thing that you just overhear somebody say something, or you observe somebody doing something that go, what's going on there? And the thing, especially with those type of stories, and I think, Shantay, I agree with you, is it's curiosity. If you're curious, if you keep yourself curious, you're going to find something on it. And the scariest thing about starting a project is the first step. When I was in school and I was studying composition, the hardest thing for me was when I sat down to write a piece going, what am I going to write for? Because you had a plethora of anything. But when I had somebody come up to me and say, hey, I've got my senior recital coming up. Can you write a piece for clarinet? Okay, sure. Okay, that now gives me my framework. So, I mean, again, just being open, don't always poo-poo the idea. The other idea that I tend to do is I keep a journal. And if I hear something, I'll write it down. I may not come back to it for months or even years, but I might look at going, why did I write that down? So but yeah, it's just being open and being aware of your surroundings and being present is, I think, is a good way to help figure out what you want to do.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So for our next question, Maddie, go ahead and share your question with us, please.
How do you like manage your time so that you can get everything done?
Oh, I think that's another good question. Boy, Adam's already chomping at the bit. Okay, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, because this goes to my big thing about discipline. Know what it is? And I'll be honest with you, Maddie. Something like this, a notebook, is at the start of each day or anything else, I write lists. Lists, in my opinion, are your friends. Because for me, one of the most satisfying thing about a list is when you finish it, you get to check it off on that. But keeping that there, keeping a calendar, staying organized. And it doesn't matter whether you're in television production, you're in business, teaching, whatever your physical activities, keeping lists and keeping organized is the best way to do it. And it's just, again, falls under discipline. You say, I'm going to try and this is what I need to accomplish. This is what I'm going to try and accomplish this week. This is what I'm going to accomplish this day. This is what I'm going to try and accomplish in the morning, and break it down to smaller tasks. That's another way of keeping yourself on task. Instead of looking at the whole giant thing, say, I'm going to do these little parts. And then by the time you finish it, you go, oh, it's done. Okay, cool. And you're ready to go.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Mareya, go ahead and tell us, well, how do you keep organized?
I agree, like having a notepad or like a planner to keep organized. I used a planner a lot for when I was organizing and planning my time out. I also recommend maybe reminders on your phone if you have trouble like remembering things. So yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Shantay, how do you keep organized?
I'm
sorry.
I'm very close to my planner. And another tip that I've read somewhere, it said that if you plan the night before you go to sleep at night, if you write down your list, then when you wake up in the morning, you have a good idea of what you need to get done for the day. And then, you dream about it, whatever, you think about it in your sleep, and then you're more focused in the morning. So I think that definitely having lists and a planner, and I'm not good with digital planners and typing things into Outlook, things like that. I have to have a paper planner so that, like what Adam said, when you're done, you just cross it off, and it feels like you're accomplishing something when you do that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Nic, what do you do for time management and organizational skills?
I don't have a notepad or anything like that. My job requires me a lot of times to be constantly moving. So I lose a lot of pens and I lose a lot of notepads, and I stop carrying those around. I have an iPhone and I have a notepad section in my iPhone, and that's what I use. It's always with me. I check it. I'll be at lunch with my friends or dinner with my friends, and I'll be like, oh, I need to put a boom pole on my list. And I'll pocket out of my pocket and I'll add a boom pole to my list. But for me, time management starts the day you sit down time management in production. Time management starts the day you sit down, for that production meeting, and you figure out what that thing is. You have to build in time for everything. When you build in time for everything, add an hour before and after. Okay. Always so for us, everything is really money, and we have to be out by the hour or by so we have to make sure that we maximize everything, every single minute that we have. So like Adam said, we have to make lists, and that starts with making a production list. What are we, how much time are we going to spend to pack? It gets down to that level of taking notes, and building that time in. How many guys will you need to pack? And this seems like a lot of writing, And it is a lot of writing, and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be the guy to coordinate the shoot and have to write the times out and send out the emails. But if that's not done, it's going to be, everybody's going to be winging it. And if everybody's winging it, it's going to be relying on one person to keep the boat steering right. So you have to make sure that there's a plan written down, that everybody has an email with times on it. And if there are hard times out, you have to make sure that there's someone there keeping time, saying, hey guys, we're running out of time. We got 30 minutes before close, because everybody can't be always locked in. Somebody has to be the responsible one to say, hey guys, we need to get out of here, or they're going to kick us out. And, sometimes if you're the only person there, that's going to be your responsibility too. So you might have to set an alarm clock to yourself to say, hey, I need to go pay the meter. So time management becomes having a list like everybody else has said, but, thinking about the small things that's going to slow your production down. You get to a location and you think everything is great, but nobody thought about where we're going to park this truck.
Right.
Now we can't bring it in the garage because it's too high. So we got to find street parking in DC. How's that going to work? So you might have to have a whole nother person just dealing with that truck, So always plan every single detail, from production to, pre-production to production to editing, and add an hour or two.
And Maddie, I just want to say that is a really important question you asked, because I'm all of the digital. I know I'm of the digital format, so I use my phone and everything to be organized. But you're going to see, as a producer, it is really important for you to stay organized in your time management, not just for yourself, but everyone that you have that's working with you and for you to help you produce your video. And if you're not on time, they're not going to be on time. And like Nic said, it's going to throw everything off. So it is extremely, and I mean extremely important, that you stay on time. And you're going to have a flow of hey, when we're doing what at what time. And people who are working for you, they're going to expect you to stick to that. So being organized and making sure that you're getting all the information you need to everyone, to all your videographers, your camera operators, your sound guys, your lighting guys, your gaffers. I mean, I'm throwing out titles that you guys might not know, but I'm just saying these are all people that you sometimes have work on your productions. And so it's really important. You as the producer, it starts with you, and your time management and organization is critical. So I think that was a very important question you asked. Okay, so let's roll right into Jabali. Jabali, you have a question, and I like that background you got going on back there too.
Thank you. I have a question. How early do you have to wake up to be on time?
How early do you have to wake up to be on time? Wow. Okay, Shantay, why don't you go? You want to start with that?
I think that's a great question. Usually, it depends on how far you have to travel. Luckily, in the pandemic, we're all at home, so I usually wake up an hour before. But if my drive to where I'm going is like 30 minutes to 45 minutes away, I leave my house an hour before. So I wake up an hour before. So it takes 2 hours before I have to go somewhere to wake up. I wake up 2 hours before I have to go somewhere. But, they say that if you're on time, you're late. And if you're early, you're on time.
Yep.
Early than to be on time. So I always try to be earlier than I'm supposed to be there. I try to be there earlier than I'm supposed to be there.
I really think that kind of wrapped it up. Any other takers want to take that question on?
I think Buddy might be worried about getting to work too early. Don't worry, Buddy. Video production, we work all day. Some of your productions might be 2 a.m. in the morning, so you might be waking up all day. You might be up all day and up all night, and that's the way it is. Like,
or we're not doing that here, though. We're not doing that with you guys here. So So
No.
take a deep
But
breath.
on
We're not
your
doing that.
on your own time, when you're sitting there in your rooms or you're editing, you might look over and hours have passed. So with us, it's always try to get there early. If you're in charge of production, for me, I get there an hour early just to set up, just to scout the location, just to get there before anybody. If I'm just a camera guy, I'll get there 20, 50 minutes before. But we shoot all hours of the day, we edit all hours of the day. So it really doesn't matter how what time you really get up. Luckily, we work 9 to 5, so we get up at a certain time every day. But there are times when we have special shoots where we have to wake up a little bit earlier, but you get up at the same time, and you still got to work a regular shift.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Mareya, I'm curious to get your perspective actually with just what you've been doing with the Youth Academy. What kind of times have you been working up to get up? How early have you been getting up to work on some of your projects?
So for me, I wake up really early, so I usually wake up at 7, so I give myself like an hour before to get ready and wake up, and then I set a time to work, and then I use that time. And so basically, I would just say just give yourself cushions of time to make sure anything can happen in that time. So if you give yourself a cushion of time to, hold on, I'm sorry. But give yourself a cushion of time, so for anything that can happen in that time period, so you still have time to get your project done. So.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. All right, we're actually running low on time, but Marcus, I want to make sure you get your question in. Tell us what you got.
My question is, what would you tell people who are interested in the work you do?
So what would you tell people who are interested in the work you do? Okay.
I mean, Mark, so you're asking about if you want to get started in this field or just in general on that?
Get started.
Get started? Okay. I would say, again, like I've said before, it's just study, just look around you. One of the things I've always said when I teach is that you guys in the younger generation, younger than me on this, and that includes Derek in that, I'm including Derek in that conversation, you guys have been inundated with video. You know instinctively what good video is. What the teachers do, and people at MCM or wherever you're studying or stuff like that, all they're doing is giving you the tools to translate that and make that, and you learn how to make it work. You know intrinsically what good is on that. So that's what I would say. It's figure out the tools. And it's look at like MCM with community things. Look at your high school, see if you have something in there on that. Look at the community college or the university, especially nowadays, there's so much free content out there from reputable universities. I've actually just finished a course in the history of cryptocurrency from MIT, and it was a free course that they said, here, just put your email address in and you get it. MIT is one of the top schools in the world. So you can find things out there. And that's why I say, it's just go look for those education opportunities and watch.
Let's see. Nick, you want to give us a really quick brief kind of how do you think you get started?
To young people, I say, congratulations, you're young right now. There are tons of free resources out there right now, and if they're not free, they're cheap, like what we have here at MCM, where you can learn all the skills that you need to be a filmmaker without having to wait till you go to college. If you do want to go to college and get that experience, go ahead. But I've met a lot of guys on this job that started out just walking through the front doors. They learn and they pick up as they go. Some of them, go deeper in. Some of them go to school afterwards and get even deeper in. But I'll say to young people, look, if you're interested in it now, there's a lot of things right now that's happening for you guys. So you guys can take advantage of those and you won't have to pay for it later. For older people, I say, find a film community and reach out and join and learn. And if you do want to learn even more, find a film school or a film program that you can jump into. But there's so much out there right now, especially for you guys. Like, I wish I was young right now.
There are a lot of resources definitely out there. Shantay, with your, especially your being a producer, your and that background, what would you recommend in terms of ways to get started?
Well, I think going to school is a great idea, and using the resources that are available for free are great, but doing programs and fellowships and residencies and just going to film festivals, or maybe, reading books about production is really important. I have several books about production that I've read. And going back to it, you have to be disciplined to do these types of things on your own. Like, the resources are out there, but if you don't have the discipline to complete a program like the one at MIT or anywhere else, then it's just you should try to be more disciplined in order to get some of that stuff done. But going to school really does help you figure out if this is something that you're interested in doing. But yeah, programs at MCM that and at your age, you're definitely, because when I was like at your age, I went to Northwestern and found out that I really enjoyed it. Before that, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I found out that I really enjoyed it. So I went on to Syracuse to get a degree in television, radio, film management. And so, like, at this age, you should be exploring YouTube. You should be exploring all the Vimeo, all those channels to find out the free sources that you can do. Take classes at MCM. And then, if it works for you, it's not for everyone. And you might find out that, no, because when I went to Northwestern, I was like, I don't want to do production. I'd rather do management. So that's what I found out. And Syracuse had a management program, so that's where I went. So, use this time wisely. Be sure, be honest with yourself. If other people are expecting you to do this, it's not what you want to do, don't do it. Like, do something else, but don't waste your time doing something that you don't love. And it goes back to that love and discipline and organization and all that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's some excellent feedback. Excellent feedback. Mareya, what about you? And what you're currently you're moving. You've been doing so much already right now. Just wrap it up. We can wrap it up with your experiences. And what advice would you give?
I would just say don't be afraid to take risks and to be open-minded and to try new things. And if you see something you're interested in, just take the leap and take the opportunity, because the worst is, like, you might not like it, and that's okay. So
I think that's some great advice. And I would actually just like to piggyback a little bit what Shantay said is you guys are actually starting off in the right place right here at Montgomery Community Media with the experiences you have here. There's always something new. There's always new ways. There's always new ways to be creative. There's always new technology out there that you can leverage your creative skills. So it's just really sky's the limit in terms of how vast where your mind can go to create a very creative product that is interesting to all different types of audiences out there. Okay, so we are actually wrapped up with our time. That is, we're actually just went so fast today. So I want to first thank all of our speakers for coming out today. This has, I think, been an excellent experience, and we had an excellent conversation. Look forward to hopefully having some of you guys come back. We'll see you guys next time here on Talk Back Wednesday. Take care.